All right, we're going to start now. Well, let me get our studio mode set up.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, do you know the fight, cats and dogs? You think you know the fight?
I think I know the fight. You want to know what
It doesn't matter what you think.
Welcome everybody to the Hands of Justice. We got our own opinion. You're gonna have to trust us. Lifestyle, fitness, and the hot top violence. Pure entertainment, talking fighters with fly fists. MMA, Bellator, boxing type ish.
Hands of Justice. Let's get ready. They say whatever the fuck they want. You damn right.
Hands of Justice.
And now your hosts, James Hand and Seth Justice.
Sounds a little bit off, but hey.
Chasing the dog, that's what all it was.
Chasing the dog, the douche. Seth Justice with James Hand today.
Like always,
Like always.
I'm the only fucker that can really put up with him anymore.
I know, right? You know, me and my loud mouth sometimes.
Your ego mentality. Like, we go live at noon. We're supposed to be on at noon, and you show up at like 5 after.
Hey, you know, long night, wanted to get some sleep in, and well, bada bing, bada boom, here we are.
Before we get into everything, you can call or text us at 734-224-4781. We will be taking phone calls as they come in. We're going to be talking about UFC 229. That's tonight. We will be doing a special broadcast of it tonight on Score on Air.
Absolutely.
Then we got the Red River Showdown.
Oh, and you know me being a Longhorns fan, that itches my craw.
If you have to, tighten it up.
Oh, it's fine.
So this is going to be a big night. Then we got NFL coming up. We got our fucked up news coming up. So with that being said, I think we need to start with what everybody is going to be talking about tonight. Do you want to start with the main event, or do you want to start with what happened last night in Australia?
We can do Australia and then move in there.
Because with UFC 229, I'm going to pull up the whole card, and we're not going to go with the Fight Pass undercards.
Right.
We're just going to start with the
main card here.
The main card, which starts at like 8. We'll do the main undercard leading to the main card, which the press conference was insane again.
Yeah, and Conor McGregor, and you know was showed his swagger, we'll say.
Is that what you're calling it?
Yeah. He also had Drake out there with him, so.
Well, because he thinks he's the greatest.
Yeah.
So, Super Showdown was this morning at 5 a.m. For those that live underneath the rock, Super Showdown was WWE's big event from Sydney.
Right.
Was it Sydney they were at? No, Melbourne.
Melbourne. Same
thing. It's down under, mate. That's all that matters.
I wonder if anybody had fish on the bobby.
Well, after reading these results, I have not watched it yet because it was 5 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
we had things to do.
Like sleep and
play video games, which we'll discuss later. The big thing was the SmackDown Tag Team titles, The Bar versus The New Day, which The New Day retained.
Right.
What is up with, like, on heel and face, I got to be somewhat biased, I guess. But here, what the fuck, Vince? Like, I know you've been wanting to say it for a while.
Right.
Why keep these titles on the New Day at this point in time?
I mean, they're an act, we'll say an act, that doesn't necessarily need the titles.
No, you could take the titles off of them and they don't need it. They were like the Four Horsemen.
Right. But, you know, I wonder if they just want the New Day to have the titles just because.
Or does it have something to do with maybe Paige?
Maybe. Because
we know what Xavier Woods and Paige had been into. So,
let me be with
but
you
the New Day down in
tonight.
Australia, the big thing about that is that they're marks.
Right.
Australia loves probably bootios.
Oh yeah.
They talk about putting shrimps on the Barbie and stuff. I figured New Day or something would have been the ones that did the shrimp on the Barbie thing.
Right.
Or shrimp on Paige.
No, that's Xavier Woods and what is his
Brad
name?
Maddox.
Brad Maddox. He definitely laid some shrimp on her, so. But boom.
Then we got the women's championship, Flair versus Lynch, which Becky Lynch did win by DQ.
Which I'm not.
No, Flair won by DQ.
Right, and I'm not too upset about this.
Well, no, because it keeps the feud going.
Right.
It's already been advertised for November 24th that they're going to be going at it again in Starrcade in the
Right.
steel cage.
Well, you know, as CBS Sports says on this, the crowd was firmly in Lynch's camp throughout this match.
Well, Becky Lynch is getting that Stone Cold-esque background. Like, they've tried to do everything they could to make her a heel, but the fans are responding as that baby face.
Right, and I'm not mad about it.
It's a long time coming for
Yeah.
Becky Lynch.
Oh, absolutely.
She's one of the hardest working divas on the roster, and now she's finally starting to get what's due to her. She
Right.
was trained a little bit by Finn Balor, so she's uber talented. Yes,
yeah.
I just use Uber without calling an Uber.
Excuse me, can I get an Uber for Becky Lynch?
Which I'd give it to her.
Would you?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would too.
and I won't get in trouble for this because Jackie knows my thought on Becky Lynch. So then we got Lashley and John Cena versus Elias and Kevin Owens. I'm hearing a lot of backlash off this that Lashley worked a lot of this match.
Right, because John hasn't been in a ring since he did a lightning punch. Lightning!
Then, of course, Cena takes the mic and does the whole, I admit WWE has been my home and will always be his home, yada, yada. And it was 70,000 people saying what?
Yeah. Well, and then Cena eventually hitting his attitude adjustment and new 6 move of Doom finisher, a back fist to the head for the 1, 2, 3 on the Elias.
Which this sixth move of Doom is stupid.
Lightning!
Right.
And you're just like, John, this isn't a video game. Quit it.
Right.
It's like, we know you're strong, but you're not Big Show strong. If Big Show hits you with a knockout punch,
You're
yeah,
done.
You're done. But this, you're just being hokey.
It's very campy.
Yeah.
Then we had the Iconics versus Asuka and Naomi.
Which, again, like we said earlier before the show, this didn't make any sense.
Well, since her loss at WrestleMania, Asuka's basically, and I hate saying this because she's on TV, she's become a glorified jobber.
Yeah.
In a way, because there's no reason a woman that goes undefeated for 2 years in NXT goes undefeated on the main roster for almost a year until Miss Little Charlotte Flair beats her. And now all of a sudden she can't fight herself out of a wet paper bag.
Right.
And
I don't know.
the Iconics,
They're hot.
I think that's the problem with the Iconics is Vince has got so much stock in them.
They would have been great in the Attitude Era.
Yeah, they would have.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't have lasted in the Attitude Era because of the Litas, the Trish Stratuses, the Mickey Jameses towards the end of the Attitude Era, the Beth Phoenixes.
Or even like a little bit after in the PG era.
Which you still had Leigh McCool, Michelle McCool. That's where your Beth Phoenix came in towards the end of Chyna's run.
Play cool.
So then we get into the no DQ, no count out there must be a winner.
Right.
I will watch this match because I'm an AJ Mark.
See.
From what I've seen in this, it was a brutal match.
Right.
But I think they dropped the ball with Joe tapping out.
Right. And that was calf pressure, wasn't it?
Yes. I think they have dropped the ball completely on this Joe AJ feud.
I agree. Now, TNA did something like this after Joe had beaten AJ for the title, and then AJ, I believe, got it back after a while. And then they did this with Joe and AJ, where AJ pretty much dominated / kept the title for a while then after. And it worked out pretty well, but I don't know, man. I think with how good Joe is, probably should have let let this go to Joe. Like, and he almost hit him. Wait, who also attempted his long-lost Muscle Buster.
Right, and he's teased this Muscle Buster even at the last pay-per-view.
Right.
Which I understand they're a little bit squeamish about it because of what happened to Tyson Kidd.
Right.
But with Tyson Kidd, that was a pure freak accident.
Right. It was a botch of all botches.
Right, and no one was to blame for it. And this is what WWE has been really known for, is that they like to censor their fighters.
Right.
Like what moves they can and can't do.
Right.
And like Kevin Owens, one of his big moves was the package power driver.
Right.
Can't do it now.
No.
But in New Japan, Impact, they're still doing it.
You look at Pentagon. Pentagon still does it.
Well, that and Marty the Moth does now too. Because
Right.
he...
Real quick, what is up with all these moth things? You're seeing on the internet now of moth memes, moth this, moth that.
I think we're near the moth. What? It's that time of moth? Yeah, that was a horrible one. I'll give it.
God
I
damn
will
it.
excuse myself on
Damn
that
it,
one.
James.
Then we got the Riot
Speaking of
Squad.
moth mouth, jeez.
Then we got the Riot Squad versus the Bella Twins and Ronda Rousey.
I wonder if Brie botched anything.
That I don't know. I didn't see anything. But this is what's killing me. We knew Ronda and the Bellas were going to win this match.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't set up Evolution.
No.
This was your perfect opportunity to set up the championship match between Nikki and Ronda.
Right.
I want to know what the over-under on 3 was for the crotch pulls. On the trunks for Ronda. How many times did she yank out her crotch because she hasn't figured out wrestling something that doesn't ride on you?
Hey, man. All I got to say is softcore porn.
Travis Brown.
Travis Brown.
Then we got the 205 match. Cedric.
I watched this a little bit.
And 205,
Oh,
people
man.
are not giving these cruiserweights credit. And ever since Vince has walked away from that 205 camp,
Right.
it's become a predominantly better product.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Is Drake Maverick still the GM right now?
Yes.
And he's still the younger brother of the AOP?
Yes.
Which Murphy, a.k.a., is from Australia.
Right.
And, not to mention, Alexa Bliss's fiance.
Lucky bastard.
Which, I know this is off the Super Showdown, but have you seen this new faction they're building in NXT? The Forgotten Sons.
Oh,
It's
yeah, I've
Wesley
heard.
Blake, and it's the old Gunner.
Gunner.
There's 3 of them, I forget.
Jackson Riker.
Yeah, that's the 3, and they're kind of...
I like this because you know me. I'm a big Gunner fan. I was a huge Gunner fan when he was in the Main Event Mafia, as well as when he was with another
James
faction,
Storm.
James Storm, and whatnot. And
Wasn't he also with Crimson at one point?
He was. But Gunner's just talk about a worker, man.
Yeah.
He works himself to absolute max each and every match, and his effort level is just phenomenal. I hate how NXT has kind of babied him a little bit.
Forgot him.
Forgot him, absolutely.
Just like Wesley Blake, Buddy Murphy's old partner that started with Alexa Bliss. People have forgot about Wesley Blake.
Yeah.
And the man is a worker as well. I know we just went off a tangent
It's
on
all right.
NXT, but it's still wrestling, so it
Oh, yeah.
counts.
But, you know, Buddy Murphy got the win over Cedric Alexander in from what I saw, a great match. Not a
These
good
two
match,
have went. These two have went at it for a while, and they've consistently put a great product out in the ring.
Because Buddy Murphy is a genetic freak.
Yes,
And
so is Cedric Alexander.
exactly. And so I think it was time for Cedric to drop this. You know, he got it at WrestleMania, has had it for a while, and you know he's a great talent. But this just continues the feud, and it's gonna be a very, very good happenings in the cruiserweight division.
And one thing I liked about the Super Showdown, based on what I'm seeing, was there was no like pre-show matches.
No.
Every match was on the main card, and the way that this is listed, they put the cruiserweight match right after Ronda and the Bellas,
Right.
but right before the Shield versus the Dogs of War. So a perfect spot for this match.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey and them getting her pop and all that.
Right.
But right before the Shield in them, and this gives the crowd a chance to build.
But I don't know why they didn't have the WWE Championship later. That was my only question.
And this is what people have brought up to me. Is AJ, even though the WWE champion, has he fallen to the mid cards?
No. It's because SmackDown has that stigma that
they're the
it's
little
B
brother.
show. Yeah, and they're forcing AJ to not be as great because of that stigma, and it's stupid.
Which, speaking of stupid, the Shield wins.
Yeah.
Which I would have had this go as like a no finish.
Right.
Set up for eventually Survivor Series and bring War Games back to the main roster and let these two teams lock up in War Games.
Or what you have is a Dean Ambrose turn.
Which I wouldn't doubt, based on some of the stuff that I'm reading here, how it broke down if it doesn't happen between now and Rumble.
Yeah, eventually.
And plus, insider sources that I have talked to said Dean is eventually going to turn.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to name my source, but you know my source as well.
Yeah. I mean, he has to turn eventually because, one, his look really does have that heelish.
Which he's had that since he's like dubbed this lunatic fringe kind of.
But he's always been on the border and whatnot, and I feel like now his mental side of things is, when he was WWE champion before, he was like, I don't give a fuck.
When he was in the IC champion and all that, he didn't care.
He didn't care. Now I think he has kind of a little bit more fucks to give.
Well, yeah, because I think with Dean Ambrose not just being from Cincinnati, I think they have a very possibility of turning Dean Ambrose like into a Pillman.
Right.
A loose cannon, but the fans still love him, but it's just not what we're expecting when he came back. Then, real quick before we continue, Christopher Brown and Scotty Newland, thanks for joining us. Send us any of your thoughts about the Super Showdown. If you have not watched it yet and do not want spoiled, come back in about 30 minutes.
Right.
Not even that, because we're getting close to the end of the card. Number one contenders match, The Miz versus Daniel Bryan. It looks like a short match to me.
And CBS Sports gave it a D+.
Which is odd because, yes, The Miz isn't considered as one of the best workers in the business.
Right.
But he is consistent enough. Daniel Bryan has been deemed
one
of the best in the business. And they give us, like, some of these matches got 3 paragraphs to describe what it was. This one got, like, 1.5.
On CBS, it got maybe 1.
And that's the thing. The winner in the new contender is Daniel Bryan, which sets up AJ versus Daniel Bryan.
Right.
But we've also seen advertisements that it was going to be a fatal 4-way.
Right.
So
what I'm going to assume is going to happen is when AJ and Daniel Bryan square off, both Joe and The Miz are going to come in and do something, and then it's going to be a fatal 4-way.
At some point.
Christopher
Christopher Brown said Ambrose's look is almost reminiscent of McIntyre's look now. Minus the hair being long. And I could see that. I mean, I think Dean would fit with the Dogs of War.
Oh, yeah.
Way better than he does with the Shield.
Right. And I think maybe they'll do that angle here soon.
A double turn, possibly.
Yeah.
When Drew is going to turn because Drew has main event written all over him.
Oh, yeah. He's had that.
Since Impact.
And even had that when he was in the WWE first. That was his big knock, was he has the look, but didn't have that
The it factor.
And what now
he does. He went and developed that in England and Japan and Impact. He went and developed that quote-unquote it factor.
Right. And he always had it. He just made it better.
Right. And Vince has always called McIntyre the prodigal son.
Right.
Like, Vince handpicked him to be basically the golden boy for WWE at one point.
Right.
And plus, his original entrance music was just badass.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
Which I like this new one.
Right.
But it also looks like Drew McIntyre also grew about 6 inches after he left.
Right, man.
Am I the only one? Not body-wise. I'm talking height-wise.
Maybe. I think it's just because he got more, like, he packed on more muscle. Maybe that's why.
And maybe the boots, he has a little bit higher of a heel on it.
Right.
Then we got a change to the Triple H Undertaker match to a no DQ match.
Right.
I think what it was is somebody was watching Hill and Face yesterday. And I said this is a no finish match. If you're
Right.
setting up for a Brothers of Destruction, which my co-host said the Australia fans deserve a win. Like a win or a loss, a pin.
Right.
So from what I'm reading, this match was brutal. I just wished, which I don't know what happened. They did have pyros.
Right.
Once again, but I wanted Triple H to come out to my time.
Yeah.
Instead of like the game. I would love to heard my time again and Undertaker come out to American Badass.
Oh, I miss American Badass.
Riding a Harley out. Or I would have been okay with rolling.
Keep rolling.
But that's just me. But this match, there was a lot of tables, chairs, sledgehammers. Then
Old school Attitude Era.
what you would expect from these four individuals,
Yeah.
which Shawn Michaels connected with the stiff, sweet chin music. Taker falls into a pedigree, and there's the cover and the pin. Then after the match, they do this whole let's shake hands kind of deal. Then Shawn Michaels gets put through the announce table.
Right.
Triple H is laid out by a tombstone.
Right.
And that sets up Saudi Arabia, the crown jewel, Brothers of Destruction, and DX.
Right.
I think this was a good angle other than them shaking hands after the match.
Right.
Like, that's a little hokey to me.
A little hokey, but then it turned into a much better angle.
That's very true. So, going into Monday, which I'm not looking happy on, we got an injury update on Pete Dunne, which I was talking to somebody last night about this, about Pete Dunne. I forget who I was talking to about it. I think it was Christopher Brown, because he sent me the list of Jericho drinks that are going to be on the cruise, and the stupid idiot, maybe I'll read some of them, because we didn't do them on Heel and Face, because we were crunched for time, so we didn't really get into it. But Pete Dunne, right now, right now it's a foot injury. It's a minor injury, they're saying.
Right.
Is not expected to miss next week's NXT UK tapings. But I think even if he's not hurt seriously bad, turn him heel. He's showing a lot of those heel tendencies if you watch him.
Well, he's like that Stone Cold kind of mold where he's still like a heel, but the crowd loves him.
Which on NXT next week, it's him, Adam Cole, and Ricochet for the NXT US Championship Triple Threat match. That match is going to be
amazing.
A spot fest, of course, because of Ricochet and Adam Cole.
Baby.
I was waiting on you to say it. That's why I paused. And Pete Dunne himself.
Right.
I do look for Ricochet to walk away with this title.
Yeah. All three of those guys, I absolutely positively love how they work. Especially Ricochet, especially Adam Cole. Like, especially their last match, where that super kick off that...
off the rope?
Yeah, off the rope.
Brilliant.
What? That blew my freaking mind.
And that's what Ricochet has been known from, not just in WWE, his New Japan,
right.
His Lucha Underground, his Prince Puma.
Well, he knows, even when he gets hit, how to land.
Do you know who else reminds me of that? And I'm surprised he's not on the roster yet, is Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
Look at that nasty bump he took going out of the ring, and everybody thought he broke his neck with Marty Scurll.
Yeah.
The man's still fine.
Yeah, but Will and Marty put on the absolute best fucking matches.
Wait until Sunday. You got Kushida versus Marty for the junior heavyweight title, vacated junior heavyweight.
Right, with Hiromu vacating it due to a very bad neck injury. He's been out for a year plus now.
Yeah. Which we talked about it on Heel and Face. That card's stacked. You got Kota Ibushi versus Cody versus Omega.
Right.
For the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
Kenny's probably still going to retain it because they want the
But who takes the pin?
Probably Kota.
Like to build that feud a little bit more?
Yeah, I would say so because Cody, you're not going to put him down after just now winning the IWGP US title.
Not just
putting down the NWA champion.
Right.
So what's probably going to happen is Kenny or Kota's going to knock him out of the ring and whatnot. Kenny's going to hit a V-trigger V-Trigger into Snapdragon. Snapdragon into...
The One-Winged Angel?
Yes.
But my question is, how many V-Triggers is in this match?
Oh, probably a shit ton.
I'd say over-unders at 5.
Yeah.
Between him and Cody, because
I would say-
Cody's been doing the V-Trigger a lot here lately,
All
too.
right. And, you know, I'm waiting for the disaster kick.
Do we see any working amongst each other? Like, two guys teaming up. Do we see the Golden Lovers teaming up against Cody?
I think at first you'll see the Golden Lovers and team up against Cody, and I think that's what's going to put Cody out.
That he's going to take that move that they do, that double knee?
Yeah. And then, you know, after the match, I think they might push a Cody versus Kota for the U.S. title.
I think they're still set. Juice and Cody's not done.
No, they're not, but I think...
And I do want to see that match again because the first match they just had was really good.
And then the promo afterwards by Cody.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, Cody right now, possibly, other than your Omegas and everybody else in the Bullet Club, Cody might very well be one of the best free agents when his contract's up.
Yeah.
And you know Vince is going to throw money at him.
I don't know if he's going to take it, though.
If he comes back, I think he has to come back as this full American Nightmare character.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck Stardust.
Stardust was a terrible idea.
I mean, the premise of it wasn't a bad idea because Jim Crockett used to fly his dad around in a plane called Stardust. But I think it went too long.
Yeah.
Dustin is okay with being Gold Dust.
Right. And I wish... You know, it's funny. I follow him on Instagram, and he is the polar opposite of Gold Dust.
Yeah.
And it's hysterical, the difference between the two.
And the problem is Dustin's also very loyal to Vince.
Yes. And even then, he probably could have gone to All In, but because of WWE and whatnot, he's like, I'm going to stay here.
Vince probably said, listen, if you go, there will be consequences.
Which is a dick move.
But it's that whole thing like where a lot of these guys, even if they leave, they have, the 90 days, do not complete bullshit. That I can't believe people actually still follow that little...
Well, you look at Neville. So Neville took basically a year off. And
Neville looked phenomenal at Dragon Gate.
Oh, my God. Yes, he did.
He's ripped. He's ready to go. I think WWE will realize how bad they fucked up with Neville.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think Neville should have been on 205's roster. I think he should have been out there with... Can you imagine a Finn Balor Neville match right now?
AJ Styles Neville match.
Seth Rollins.
Neville. Exactly.
Even a Dolph Ziggler or even a Drew McIntyre.
Right.
Or Ricochet.
Right.
Or a Velveteen Dream and Neville. That right there could have been...
Adam Cole versus Neville.
Baby. This time I got you. But this is the thing that Neville has brought. He still has that, kind of King Neville setup.
Which is great, because that's a phenomenal gimmick for him. He made it his own. And, you know, with how dominant he was as the Cruiserweight Champion, makes a lot of sense.
Right. And cut a brilliant promo afterwards of Dragon Gate. So, Neville is back and floating around at this point. Apparently, I'm reading on SmackDown, Flair will get a rematch for the title. On SmackDown, Becky says it doesn't matter if Flair is weakened or hulked up. She has no problem beating her and owns her now. Becky says she will make her mark on WWE and prove that she is the face of the company, no matter who she has to face.
I think what's going to happen here is somebody's going to interfere in this match.
But who?
Exactly. You don't know who, but... Maybe a Nikki Cross?
Nikki Cross is deep in a story in NXT right now.
Oh, is she?
Because we were talking about this as well. We think William Regal set Aleister Black up.
Okay.
And Nikki Cross knows
okay.
that Regal did it.
Gotcha.
The opener of NXT was Nikki Cross basically sitting in a black hallway just saying, we had fun, didn't we? She's having one of those Eddie Edwards-esque mental breakdowns.
Okay.
Which makes it even hotter. But then let's shoot to TNA. Your girl, Scarlett Brodeur. She had a good set with Don Callis.
Yep.
And now they're doing a casting couch with her. Not that kind of casting couch, you perv. She's looking for wrestlers to manage.
Interesting.
So
I'll go.
So she had like her first casting call with like Trevor Lee
Right.
and them.
Go to hell.
He was going to teach her how to do a Canadian Destroyer. He's like, well, since you're going to do the Canadian Destroyer, my head's got to be between your legs.
Boom.
And that's how they did it, basically. But
Right.
she's going, I think, well, tell me if this would not be odd, and I know it sounds stupid, Chris Jericho being her client at Bound for Glory.
That'd be great.
It makes
It
sense
does make sense.
because we know Chris Jericho is showing up at Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
Just in what context?
Right. So whether it's a run-in, whether it's an actual match, we don't really know yet. Which I am excited for that we don't know something coming out of Impact. 'Cause
Well,
of all the
yeah.
taping and whatnot.
I mean, Impact is, and we've discussed this before, Impact is actually a really good show again.
EC Dub. And
And it does have that vibe because I think of Don Callis.
Oh, yeah.
And Don Callis has always said on all the podcasts, what? He's over.
Oh, yeah.
He's over. Like,
Yeah.
he understands his business better than just about damn near anybody.
Right. Absolutely.
The only person I wish Don Callis could get involved with wrestling again is Lance Storm.
Right. But I think Lance is perfectly
Lance is
fine.
happily training,
Yeah, he's fine with that. And doing podcasting shit. And
which he just came back even on that.
Yeah.
Because he was taking a break. But I think he took a break because he was heavy in training.
right.
Maybe we get a Lance Storm Jericho match.
What?
Yeah.
Lance Storm what?
Lance Storm,
Lance Storm what?
and Jericho.
What?
And Jericho.
What?
Just put
What?
just put
What?
we don't have that sound effect on the board yet.
Oh, it needs to be there.
Jericho versus Lance Storm at Bound for Glory would be a great match
Phenomenal fucking match.
because Lance Storm
What?
is Canadian,
What?
like one of our fans,
What?
and I think he's underrated.
What? Yeah, I do.
One of the best underrated, one of the most underrated workers in the business was Storm,
Thanks, Stone Cold.
right?
Dick.
So, wrestling, we're done.
Yeah. Scarlett Bordeaux, hit me up.
So let's get into UFC 229.
Oh, this is getting me excited.
So do we want to talk about the 6:30 prelims,
No.
which there's only 3 of them?
Gray Maynard's on this one. If you know Gray Maynard, former, title contender, good fighter, over the hill.
Then we have LaFlair's on that one. That's the 6:30 card.
Okay.
Landsberg and Kunskika.
Have you seen Kunitskaya?
I'm bringing it up now.
You need to look at her.
She's 10-4, going against somebody that's 8-3. Yana also has a 70% knockout.
Kunitskaya, Yana Kunitskaya.
Yeah.
Follow her on Instagram.
Is that the one you perv out about all the time?
Sometimes.
So let's get into the 8 o'clock, which I don't think we'll be doing anything for the 8 o'clock pre-show.
We'll probably just do
We'll
the main
watch
card.
it.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about which Herring did say something about McGregor today.
Oh, really?
Which I brought it up on my phone. Hopefully it's still there. We have the first fight on the undercard is Holtzman, Hot Sauce versus Alan Patrick.
Now with this one too.
Is it Nougat?
Nougat?
I don't know how these nicknames are sometimes.
Alan Nougat Patrick. So with this 155-pound division, so the lightweight division, so this card, as the UFC has done, is lightweight dominant. These guys are both unranked. Again, 2 young guys. They fought a little bit.
I mean, they only got 3 losses between the 2 of them.
Exactly. Holtzman, he's a boss, man. He's really, really good. But this is going to be a phenomenal fight.
I mean, they both got 27% knockouts.
Exactly. About 18 to 13%.
But Alan
submission.
Patrick, I feel, will have the advantage with reach and leg reach.
Yes. So that's exactly what I was going to get to. Patrick has that lankiness. He probably will be up in the 165-pound division eventually because I think he's a bit too big for 155. But Holtzman has to get him to the ground.
Oh, well, yeah.
Has to. You have to close that distance. Make him not use his reach. that's the only way you can win. Do I think Holtzman will? Probably not. I think Alan Patrick is a phenomenal Brazilian fighter. He has great jiu-jitsu. He has pretty good striking. But, you need to have a decision out of this if you're Holtzman and make it a quick fight. Get Patrick out of his comfort zone.
I was just reading something. Matt Damon chose to be at UFC 229 than be on Saturday Night Live tonight.
Bold move, Cotton. Bold move.
Then we have, and another thing that helps on this fight is Patrick averages almost 5 takedowns per fight.
Yeah. Like I said, great jiu-jitsu artist. Make him, though, work from his back.
But then, all right, you got a guy that's doing almost 5 takedowns a fight, but the guy he's going against, Holtzman, is defending almost 60% of takedowns.
Yeah.
So this is going. I think this is maybe one of those fights that could go all 3 rounds and still leaves a buzz on it.
It probably will, but like I said, Holtzman needs to finish this fight.
Yes,
he really does, because Patrick is dangerous.
And decisions, it's about 55 for Holtzman, 60%.
Right.
So this is a straight up pick'em fight. This is the best fight for a pick'em.
If you like young fighting, good technical fighting, 2 guys that know what they're doing, 2 guys who can execute, because that's a big thing with young fighters is execution. Watch this fight.
Then we got Aspen Ladd versus Tanya Evinger, which Aspen doesn't even have a nickname.
No, she's fairly
6-0.
She's fairly new to the UFC, fairly new to MMA, and she's a good fighter. Now she is a stand-up fighter. She's not a submission specialist. But this is in the 135-pound division. Height is about the same. Tanya has a bit more when it comes to her ground game. We just haven't seen a whole lot from Aspen, like what she's gonna do.
I'm trying to bring up that story again that I saw.
Okay. But, takedown average, Aspen gets about 2. Tanya gets about 1. But, again, doesn't necessarily mean anything. Aspen, you're ranked number 9. You should win this fight. You're 6-0 against a 19-6 and 1 no contest. So it's going to be an interesting fight. I think this one's going to be Aspen, but probably a decision.
Well,
because Tanya's a very good wrestler.
And we did bring up Aspen so new that they don't even have her reach listed.
Right, which isn't surprising with a new fighter, but again, I think Aspen's going to get this because we know what she can do on her feet. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see and kind of go from there.
Then we got Vincent Lukic versus Jalen Turner. The Tarantula versus the Silent Assassin. Which isn't a tarantula, basically a silent assassin as well.
Yeah, pretty much. With this, Vincente is going to have a long day. Jalen Turner is like the Kamaru Usman, is like a Israel Adesanya kind of fighter. He is good. A little inconsistent at times, especially when he goes to the ground. That's where he's kind of, lost some of his fights. But he's got a pretty good chin. He's going up against an experienced fighter when he's only had 9 fights. The other guy has had 20. So it's in the 170-pound division. Very similar when it comes to their reach. Very similar when it comes to their height. Jalen has about 4 inches on him. So I would say Jalen gets this win. It's going to be an upset victory.
And Jalen averages 3 takedowns a match.
Right. He's a very good, takedown
and 100% guy. Accuracy.
Well, here's the thing with his takedowns. He just doesn't finish those takedowns. So when his execution on the ground, you can take him down all you want. That's fine. It's just when you start to try and go for a finish, it's not his specialty.
His takedown philosophy is get him down, let me get back up, and let me
Right, a little bit of ground and pound kind of deal. Because 83% of his wins come from KO and TKO.
Right, 17% are only submission. This other guy is 46% KO and submission.
Right.
0 of their fights have been decision by both of them.
Right.
Which, by looking at this, I think Vince will have this leg reach.
Oh, yeah.
Because they don't have Jalen's mentioned what his leg reach
well,
is.
Jalen is taller, so he's probably going to have a little bit more there. But
And whoever did the graphics on this, they didn't really do a good job of shaving down. Did you see it on the card? Like, you can see, like, a little bit of it. So then let's get to the main event of the preliminaries.
This is going to be a good fight.
Pettis versus Formiga.
Formiga is a very good fighter, very experienced. Pettis is also...
And this is Sergio Pettis. The other Pettis is on the main card as your co-main.
Right. Sergio is he's fast, man.
Yes, he's very fast, but his brother's very fast too.
True. But the only problem I have with Sergio is he never finishes a fight. At least he doesn't finish it often. You come in with 18% KO, 18% submission, 65% decision. You have to finish a fight.
Right, you can't put it in, and we've heard this from other fights and other fighters, that you cannot let it go to the judges.
Right, especially when you're dominating a fight, when you're winning a fight. So you have to finish a fight. That's the big thing against Mighty Mouse that he couldn't do was finish the fight, and Mighty Mouse finished him easy.
Right. And the big thing, you have to finish the fight when you're fighting an opponent that is 48% submission.
Right.
Averaging almost 2 takedowns a match. His accuracy's at 37.5. His submission average is a little bit under 1.
And something that people don't realize is Formiga is a specialist when it comes to wrestling. But what that also means, his takedown defense is phenomenal.
Yes, he defends 85%. Formiga does.
Yeah. So if Sergio can get him with a couple good strikes, then I see Sergio moving on. But
because the reach isn't going to make that big of a difference. It's a 2-inch reach on the hands and 1 leg difference in the. But can Sergio do something like his brother, have one of those nasty highlight knockouts?
I don't think he will. I think Formiga actually gets this victory.
You think he does?
I do, because I think he's going to control the cage, and that's been a big thing this year in fights, is cage control, whether you're wrestling or just holding a guy
And this
down.
could very well be a number 1 contendership match at one point, because Pettis is ranked number 2.
Yep.
And Formiga is ranked number 5. This is a perfect storm.
Yeah.
If Sergio goes out there and really puts on a show, he could be put up into that title match picture
Against Cejudo or Mighty Mouse.
at that 125 division.
Right.
And this is going to be huge for that. I wish we had an intern here to keep track of our predictions right now.
I know, right? We'll just have to go back and kind of cut it. And
So let's get to the main card.
okay.
The Karate Hottie, Michelle Watterson versus Felice Herrig. And this is why I waited on the article. Yahoo Sports said, no matter what, she always thinks Conor's going to be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I quote, I just think it's because they will just follow him blindly. Like he's kind of a person who could be a cult leader.
Right.
And have little minions. The people who get pissed at me are his little minions who would kiss his feet. So that's why I get hate.
Well,
then one last part to her quote. I don't care what he did wrong. I will still think he's a piece of shit. And I'm always going to think he's a piece of shit.
Here's the thing.
I mean, he was in a video game as a cult leader.
Right. So my thing is, with people that, people just follow. I feel like, maybe this is like a little anime fan in me and whatnot. People have a presence. People have that innate feeling that
aura.
That aura that you see as somebody and you're like, I want to follow that person. I want to be with that person. I want to help that person achieve a lot.
We see it with college football all the time.
Right, like Baker Mayfield is a great example.
I would follow that man to the end of Babylon.
Exactly. For me, I don't know. I've never had that feeling per se of like I would follow that person to the ends of the earth. But
Scarlett Brodeur.
Well, that's for other reasons. She can follow me later though. But people have that. People have that kind of innate sense of, I like this person. I'm gonna go with that person because I think they're gonna do amazing things.
We've
and I want to
seen
help
it
them achieve.
in history, Waco.
Right.
We've seen it.
Adolf Hitler,
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Well, okay, so for those of you who are anime fans, I don't know who all are. I'm a huge one.
Goku was one of those people that
Goku
people
was.
would follow, and Vegeta.
And so I'm going to talk about One Piece. So One Piece is one where...
I thought you were going to talk about My Hero Academia.
I love that one too. I'm actually starting to watch that one. But in One Piece...
Hold on, guys. We're just going down a rabbit hole with Seth real quick.
So there's this thing called haki, which is kind of somebody's innate aura or will, they'll say. So Luffy, the main character, has that aura that people just want to follow. And there's other characters in that people just have that innate kind of feeling of, you know, I want to follow that person because I believe in what they stand for and what they do. So I think, honestly, that translates into reality with, like, a Conor McGregor. With, like, say, a Joe Rogan, too.
We've also seen it with other fighters, like the Chuck Liddells, the Tito Ortizes, the Dan Severns, Hoist Gracie.
Right.
People still will
Tank
go.
Abbott.
People will still go train with the Gracie family because of who Hoist Gracie is.
Right. 100%.
Shamrocks were like this.
Right.
Then we get, like, I really do think this is an 8-9 fight.
Mm-hmm.
3-inch reach on the fist for Herrig. Like, the leg reach, I'm not worried about as much as that 3-inch reach.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it's the way this breaks down.
Right.
Michelle Watterson is 20% knockout.
Right.
And submission 60%, but the little Bulldog has 64% by decision.
Right. And her takedown defense is elite.
69%, yeah. Almost, it's like 69.2%.
And it's an elite takedown defense. So, what I can see happening here is a kind of wrestling match almost. So, with this, Michelle Watterson and Herrig, it's going to go down to the wire, man. I think this is going to be a decision as well.
I'm going to give this to Herrig.
I can see that.
Because I like both of these women. I have since I watched both of them get into the octagon. I just think Felice, she wants that title shot again.
Yeah.
She really does, and she wants what's the fighter, Nunez?
Yeah.
That's that division.
Nunez.
Is it? And that's the division that she's in.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, no matter what, I think this goes 3 rounds.
Oh, yeah.
I think this one has a better shot at going to decision than the rest of them on the main card.
I would agree. Just because of the type of fighters they are.
I mean, yeah, significant strikes is even paired up right.
Oh, yeah.
Watterson's at 3.1 or 3.2. I'll round that up.
Right.
And Herrig is at like 4.
Right.
So this is going to be a really good...
It's going to be very close. It's a good opener. I'm glad they opened with this fight.
Yes.
Because this is going to get fans going.
This is the way that you want to start that card.
A very close fight, a very good fight. And just all in all, it's going to be a freaking barn burner, man.
Then we got a heavyweight fight. Derek Lewis, the Black Beast, versus Alexander Volkov, the Drago.
Now,
Derek
Lewis, this could be a phenomenal fight.
Or it could be...
like the Francis Ngannou-Lewis fight.
Yeah.
Because me and Tyson on Tyson's Punch-Out, you know, I was there with him when I saw Stipe DC and Lewis versus Ngannou. We thought Lewis and Ngannou was only going to last a round, and it was just going to be a fucking brutal fucking war and just carnage and
it wasn't what you thought it was.
It was a pussy shit fight.
Right.
And you're just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You're just like...
Well, it's kind of like CM Punk's last fight.
Right. But regardless...
I mean, this could very well be a number 1 contendership for that Cormier title, depending on what goes on with Brock and John Jones or Stipe. Now, this could be...
This fight should be good. I'm saying should be.
If Brock wasn't coming back and Stipe was taking a break, would this fight have been a number one contendership fight?
100%. 100%.
And both fighters, Derek Lewis is 20-5 with one no contest. 29-6 for Volkov. But the knockout TKO ratio is 85-66.
Which is ridiculous. But
so both
again,
guys
a heavyweight fight.
Both guys finish fights.
Yeah, 100%.
And they're not takedown guys.
No, I mean, Lewis is probably the best known for takedowns in the heavyweight division outside of DC.
And he's only at like 0.5.
Right.
Volkov is at like 0.8.
Right.
But look at the takedown accuracy. Volkov, his accuracy is so good.
But Volkov is a monster. And so is Lewis. But my question is how is Lewis's back? And will Volkov go after him if he knows he's hurt?
Oh, well, all you got to do is get one of those big takedowns. Right. Slam him right on his back. If his back's not healthy, he's going to feel it right then and there.
And the reason why Lewis versus Ngannou was such a boring match is because, one, Lewis had a hurt back, and Ngannou was scared.
A little bit.
A lot of it.
Ngannou hasn't been the same for a while.
Stipe took his soul.
Just like Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
And I hate to admit it, McGregor stole his soul in that fight.
Renan Barão got his soul taken by TJ Dillashaw and Jose Aldo.
So, I mean, we've seen this happen.
Oh, yeah, numerous times. And, you know, you'd be surprised that, you know, Chuck Liddell's soul didn't get taken by Rampage
or Tito's.
Or Tito by Liddell. But
Brock by Kane.
Right.
Which,
I mean, we haven't seen Kane in a long time, so I mean...
Kane's been training at the WWE Performance Center.
Right, that's fair, but again, you know, this fight could be phenomenal. I just hope it lives up to the press, because this fight could take all the other fights and just toss them out. This could seal the show.
Could this be match of the night?
It could. It very well could. It's just if Lewis's back is okay.
And I think I've seen Volkov fight before.
He's entertaining.
What will help him will be that leg reach.
Oh, absolutely.
A 5-inch leg reach.
If he can just like keep tapping on that leg, go after the knee, go after the hammies, and just cut down that tree.
Turn him into a big pile of hamburger meat.
Yeah. I mean, he's already kind of there because he has a big old belly. But
the next three fights are going to be huge. St. Peru versus Reyes.
Ovince St. Peru versus Dominic Reyes. That should be a good fight. This is going to be a good fight for OSP to kind of get back into that championship kind of contention at 205.
But he's got to go through an undefeated fighter.
A young fighter, though. So, Dominic, yes, is he undefeated? Yeah, but... I still have questions about it.
I think OSP has this just based on reach.
Yeah, I mean...
And experience.
I would say experience more. Reach, a 3-inch reach advantage doesn't mean shit. It's when you get to the 4 and 5-inch. But, again, his KOs, 50%, 27% submission, 23% decision. Dominic is 67% KO, 22% sub, 11% decision. So this is going to be a stand-up brawl. Now, OSP could take this to the ground. He's very good on the ground. But again, I doubt it. You know, I would say OSP in this one, he has to make this count, though. If he wants this win, so OSP will he's number 7 right now against the number 12 fighter. This will legitimize him as a...
Top 5.
Not top 5, but
top
close.
6, like that number 6 spot, depending
6
on...
spot. And then he'll go up against, you know, whoever, like a Chris Weidman, Luke Rockhold, or whoever loses between those two, and then he may get a shot through that. So I can see that route going, because Kelvin Gastelum and Robert Whitaker are probably the next two to fight for the championship, because Whitaker still has it, but he's hurt. And Rockhold Weidman is going to happen at 2:30.
And isn't right now Woodley injured as well?
Woodley's at 170.
Well, I'm just saying in general, there's a bug going around in UFC.
Right.
Where guys are getting... So let's get to a 155 fight. This fight is going to be a barn burner.
Especially now that Anthony Pettis is back to Anthony fucking Pettis.
And Ferguson didn't get his soul stolen from him.
Did you see in the press conference with him, he brought his belt?
Right. Which this is not a title fight.
This is not a title fight. Ferguson does not have the belt, but he was stripped of the belt because he tore his LCL because he tripped on some wires. With this, though, Ferguson is a monster. And I believe we've seen this fight before. I'm going to just make sure. But
While you're doing that, I'll bring up some of the little tales of the tape. Both these guys are at between 45 to 48% when it comes to knockout, 36 and 33. 20. These guys don't let the judges decide their fights.
Right. Now,
They do like 20% of the time. But then you've got, this is the big number, significant strikes landed.
Right.
Ferguson's at 5 per minute.
Right.
When Pettis is at 2.7.
And I would say that went down a lot during his like really bad run. Now they haven't fought each other. Now you'd think these two would have fought before, but they haven't.
25 and 3 for Ferguson. Pettis 21 and 7.
Now this is gonna be a huge fight because the winner of this fight gets the title shot.
The winner of this fight goes against either Khabib or McGregor.
Or if they do this, where it's Conor versus GSP if he wins, or Khabib versus GSP if he wins. So
Which we'll find that out probably tonight.
right.
I guarantee by the end of the night, we will find out who is the new contender for Khabib or McGregor. But with this fight right here, I give this, if Ferguson wins, it's a title shot.
Yeah. 100%.
If Pettis wins, I don't think it's a title shot. He'll have a couple more to get through.
Right.
You're not going to see a number
But
8
he's
contender
hot.
jump to number 1.
No, he probably jumped to in the top 5.
He would jump probably in the top 4.
Yeah.
If he knocks out Ferguson first round, he jumps quick.
Especially if he's like the old Showtime Pettis. You know, just totally blows the doors open of Tony Ferguson and just goes to town.
Right. And that's the bad thing. But I do put Pettis winning this fight.
Really?
And I just wish co-main events were 5 rounds.
No, I don't necessarily wish that just because, you know, you want to have a little bit special.
You wouldn't like to see Ferguson and
I would
Pettis
love
go
it.
5 rounds?
Yes, but for, you know, the brand of the UFC, I would say.
Let him have 4 rounds then. Your main event's 5, your co-main's 4.
How about 3.5?
This isn't Bellator.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which we haven't even got to Bellator, and I know Bellator's got a fight too this weekend. Or is that next weekend?
That was last weekend.
Was that the Silva one?
Yes.
Which we did not talk
Yeah,
about.
we did. We talked about it.
Did we talk about the winners though?
No, because
No.
it didn't happen. But we'll talk about that here in a second.
So let's get to the reason why 229 is happening tonight. Khabib,
Nurmagomedov.
which I was going to say Nurmagomedov, versus Conor McGregor, the bitch. 26-0 for Khabib, 21-3 for McGregor. But the thing is, McGregor is 80% knockout.
Right.
While Khabib has a 31% submission, and we do know McGregor, McGregor's like a turtle in some instance.
Mm-hmm.
Once he's on his back, he's fucked. He proved it with Diaz.
Yep.
So if Khabib can out-wrestle him. Khabib averages almost 6 takedowns a fight.
Yeah.
McGregor's barely at 1, and that one that he's got was probably when he got choked out by Diaz.
So here's the big thing. What Conor needs to do is stick and move.
Yes.
But here's the problem with that. He's probably going to gas out. And he's prone to do that. Now, if he gets it done in the first round, don't care. But if this fight goes any longer than the first round, second round, he's going to be in trouble. He really is.
And that's the thing. Khabib's at least went to decisions.
Right.
38% of his fights have went decision.
Right.
And if you break that down out of 26 fights, 38%, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really good, but for somebody like Khabib, this is good. But the one thing that Khabib does have is his grappling ability.
Right.
This might be one of the best pure wrestlers that McGregor's had to fight in his career.
Oh, 100%. Now, you cannot underestimate Conor on the ground. He is a very good jiu-jitsu artist, but again, like you said, he needs to be on top. That's kind of his shtick.
He needs to be able to run his mouth.
Yeah.
To feed off of the attention the
Right.
crowd's giving.
Because if he's on his back, he'll get even more tired, and that's going to be bad.
And I think Khabib could outstrength him.
Oh,
Khabib's wrestled grizzly bears.
exactly. So, I mean, that's kind of the whole deal here is Conor needs to stay away from his, like, Khabib's strength. Not, like, his actual, like, mental strength. Not his actual, like, emotional strength. His actual legit physical strength. Because he will take Conor and then, bend him up, and...
He will break him.
He'll be Bender bending Rodriguez and bend him into next year.
But McGregor does defend 73% of takedowns on him.
And that's something that people don't realize is he has a really good takedown defense.
And McGregor's got a 4-inch reach advantage.
Yeah.
But at the end of this fight, I do think Khabib walks out. I don't think he walks out like clean.
I think this is going to be a hard fight to predict.
What happens if this goes like a draw?
It won't. I guarantee you it won't.
Like, imagine if it did.
Well, like I said, if this goes anything past the second round, Conor's fucked. He is fucked. Because that's more Khabib's wheelhouse.
Yeah.
A longer fight. Conor needs to stick, move, and hope he knocks Khabib out. And he even said that. Now, here's the thing about Conor that I'm liking a little bit more than what, he usually does. So, in the first presser, they asked him, hey, Conor, do you have a prediction for this fight? He didn't say anything definitive.
No.
And he's like, listen, this is going to be a very good fight. I need to get this done in the first round. If not, it's going to be tough.
But then Conor switches that.
Right, and then becomes a cheeky bastard. But,
I think I blame that on alcohol.
yeah.
I think sometimes these press conferences, he is coming lit.
Oh, yeah. If he's not lit, he's probably lit over half the... I'd say about 70% of the time. But
Not
anyway.
saying it's not entertaining.
Oh, no. And probably a Coke, too, but...
Only in your system for 72 hours.
Right. So, my thing is, with Conor, you really have to kind of weed through. And he said something about Muhammad... Like, Joe Rogan said he's like the Muhammad Ali of our time right now. He says that's very flattering.
That's what McGregor, but no.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. And McGregor said that. He's like, that's very flattering, and I appreciate that compliment. And to be put into that same realm is very humbling to me. But that's not true. It's not accurate because I am not as great as Muhammad Ali as a person and as a fighter. And Conor has those semblances of humanity and not a dickhead.
Which he showed some of it at some point.
And with this fight, though, he is not underestimating Khabib. He may seem like it sometimes, but he's not.
He's not underestimating Khabib like he did Aldo.
Right.
Or a Ferguson.
Right.
Or was Alvarez.
Right. No, because he knew those guys were bitches and he could take them out. This one he knows is going to be a fucking fight.
This is a war.
Yeah. 100%.
And this has been set up as a war since he threw a dolly through the bus.
Right. And so both guys think this is personal, and this is going to be probably the highest grossing views and buys for any UFC pay-per-view. Dana wants $3 million. I don't know if it's going to hit that. It's going to be damn
I think
close.
it hits that.
It's going to be close.
Because I see also movie theaters. Some movie theaters are screening this.
So what I'll say is...
Pay that man his money.
Yeah. I think Conor has a lot at stake, and he knows that. So I think Conor's going to get this.
So before we move, we'll discuss Bellator.
Which there's only really 2 fights that are worth anything.
Well, yeah, because we've been talking about UFC for almost an hour now, which I knew we would because of just of how this fight is.
Right.
Which the next fight for Bellator is UFC 207, which is October 12th. That's Mitrione versus Bader.
And then Fedor and Chael Sonnen is that same day.
The next day.
Next day.
They're doing it both back to back.
I just want to say, though, with this Bellator card that just happened, Aaron Pico, you did not disappoint me, man. He finished.
Why can't I find the results?
TKO.
Was that Bellator 205 the last?
206.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to find the results.
So here's the results, starting from the main card. Bolanos beat Gutierrez. Melendez beat Zimmerman. Pico defeated Higo. Lima defeated Korshkov, which I'm surprised about. Rampage Jackson defeated Vanderlei Silva by TKO in
Not
the
a
second
surprise.
round. Not a surprise. And Gegard Mousasi.
That
defeated
one
Roy
does
McDonald.
surprise me.
And how dominant he was. Jesus Christ.
Because Roy McDonald does not go down easily.
Well, and he even said sometimes with fighters you're just not mentally there. And Rory wasn't mentally there.
Roy ain't been mentally there since his fight with Lawler.
Right, but his talent trumped everybody else. And then when he fought a monster in Mousasi, Jesus, he might be the best 185-pound fighter in the world right now. Whitaker would have a lot of questions to say about that, but that'd be a damn good fight. I want to see that. He's definitely in the top 3.
So, there's our combat. So now we're going to switch to college football.
Okay.
As of right now, the Red River Rivalry, 24-10 Texas.
Hook 'em. Let's go, baby.
Alabama's up 34-14 on Arkansas.
Yeah.
West Virginia's up 21-7 on Kansas.
Okay.
Northwestern's up 14-6 on Michigan State.
Wow.
Which isn't that shock because Michigan State or Northwestern dominated Michigan all last week until the end.
Yeah.
So, but some of the games that are coming later today are LSU, Florida.
Right.
Florida State, Miami.
Right.
Iowa State and Oklahoma State.
LSU, Florida.
Indiana, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Kentucky and Texas A&M.
That should be a very good match.
Then the late games are Utah, Stanford, Notre Dame, and Virginia Tech.
Should be a very good game.
We're hearing a lot of talk about Notre Dame could be legit.
Mm-hmm.
They said that last time, and what happened?
Yeah.
What happened? They got stomped by Alabama in the national championship
Right.
because Manti Te'o was mad that his girlfriend left him.
No, it wasn't even his girlfriend.
It was a dude, I think.
Dude looks like a lady.
So, college football, there's a lot going on, but Oklahoma right now is currently losing.
I'm so damn happy. Hook 'em horns. Let's go, Texas.
So, NFL. Before we talk about the highlight games,
Right.
the NFL finally came out yesterday and admitted that they fucked up, that the fumble should have happened.
Right, and
this is where...
what's that? It doesn't mean shit.
Right, it just says, well, you were close, but sorry.
Right.
And this is where me being as a Browns fan, I hate to be that conspiracy theory guy. The NFL is against Cleveland at this point.
Well,
This is not the first game where they've blown whistles on us and they've had to reverse the decision later in the week.
I think it's a mental bias that's kind of construed over the time because Cleveland is such an amazing fan base, but also they just look like shit for the past 20 years.
And they didn't look like shit on Sunday, though.
No, they didn't. And I don't know, man. It sucks for Cleveland, and I hate to see it. Being a Cowboys fan they go up against Texans, it's still sad to see that the Browns are losing because you just hope for the best for the Browns.
So is that who your team's playing this week, the Texans?
Yeah.
I look for Dallas to struggle against Houston.
Yeah, I do too.
And that's a primetime game. That's Sunday night football.
So Dallas, what they need to do is run the football. But what is the best part about the Texans? Their front seven.
What's the best part about Texans? Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
The boy is 92 for 148, 1246, 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But then you got guys like Zeke that are 73 carries, 426.
Well, and you look at it, so against Seattle and against
He massacred
Yeah.
that team they played last week. He had almost 300 yards total offense.
Well, and he didn't. That was with 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow.
He'll be all right.
It was like 8 or 9 in the box.
Yeah.
And he still did well and had a phenomenal game. Got me 30 points in fantasy. Come on.
But a game that I am really excited about is this Vikings-Eagles game.
Yeah, I had to bench my Eagles defense because...
I think they get carved up.
Oh, absolutely.
But the game of the week, 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay.
Jags and Chiefs.
Should be a very interesting game.
We find out how good Mahomes really is.
This is an elite defense.
And Kansas City has an elite defense as well.
Right, but they're a little bit older.
This could be an AFC Championship game preview.
Do the Chiefs play the Rams?
That I don't know. Let me see if I can pull up their schedule real quick. Mahomes is at 14 touchdowns and already thrown for 1,200 yards this year.
That's ridiculous.
That's Madden.
Yeah, it really is. And Kermit the Frog is killing it right now.
Kermit the Frog. Hi-ho.
They do.
Yes, they do play the Rams
11.
November 19th.
Now that's going to be a real testing game. I'm excited to see that one because that's a Super Bowl kind of matchup.
Well, yeah, and they still have to go against the Browns defense, which the Browns aren't winning games necessarily, but that one. But their defense has been stiff all those games.
Right.
They've got a good pass rush.
Right.
So Mahomes, after this Jaguars game, has the Patriots, the Bengals, the Broncos, the Browns, the Cardinals, the Rams, the Raiders they have coming up twice still, the Ravens, the Chargers.
Right.
And by the Charger game, Joey Bosa is going to be healthy.
Right.
Or at least as a Los Angeles Chargers fan, you got to hope
you have to hope
that
because
Bosa's back.
He's the glue for that whole team because he is phenomenal. Now, just imagine this real quick.
Are you going to bring up Nick Bosa too?
Yes, I am.
He's got sand in his vagina, though.
That's fine. What if the Chargers somehow pick Nick Bosa?
If he comes out.
If he comes out. Have Nick and Joey in Los Angeles.
But don't they both play left end? They both play left.
They can play either one.
But I don't want that. I want Cleveland to actually get Nick Bosa. Put him opposite Myles Garrett with with Ogunjobi
in
the middle.
And yeah.
That defensive line could be nasty with
and then
Bosa.
you also you have Carl Nassib.
Which they don't use him enough.
No, not this year at least, But he is getting double teamed a lot.
Which is opening up the Myles Garrett's, the Ogunjobis.
Ogunjobi.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie, Ogunjobi.
So, I mean, NFL season is full in swing. Basketball season has started. Hockey season started.
Hockey I was excited about, except for the Jackets losing last night.
No. Did they lose last night?
Yeah. In their home opener.
But they did win the night before in overtime in Detroit's home opener.
Yeah.
Which, does that not satisfy you that we went up to Detroit and ruined their opening night?
Well, and Henrik Zetterberg had to retire this offseason, so they lost their captain, so I can see Detroit having a shit season. But
it's time for the Blue Jackets to pay the bread.
Yeah, I mean, they're 1-1 right now. 1-1-0.
But that's still 2 points.
Yeah.
So, and NASCAR's starting to wrap up.
Right.
But when NASCAR wraps up, NBA's fully in run at this point.
And then you also have soccer that's kind of in the meat of the season right now, and the EPL. And then you also have the MLS, who's going to be wrapping up their season here shortly.
And the MLB. We're in the playoffs. We're in the hunt for October now.
Yankees lost a close one last night.
That's right. Well, look,
5-4.
why do you think?
I know, you cheeky bastard.
I wore my Red Sox championship hat. The Indians lost.
Yeah.
I don't think the Indians. I don't think the Indians make it out of this series.
I don't either. I think Houston's too damn good. And Corey Kluber got hit the fuck up. 4 runs he gave up, and then the bullpen gave up 3.
I mean, and the Dodgers, Kershaw, This boy was on fire
About
last
damn
night.
time.
But this is
About damn time. He's never been good in the postseason.
well. The thing is, he didn't play that great. He had 8 innings, 3 strikeouts, but only allowed 3 hits.
Right. He didn't have to strike out anybody. That's what I don't understand. In the postseason, Kershaw is always like, strike him out, strike him out, strike him out. And he's never that way. But if he just relaxes, goes into his progressions, and is smart, intelligent about his pitching, he will do a lot better in the postseason.
Is the Dodgers World Series or bust this year with bringing in,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
his name?
Manny Machado, Clayton
yeah.
Kershaw. Oh, yeah.
Same with the Red Sox. I think
Yeah.
Red Sox, it's World Series or bust for that team.
I think the Red Sox have one more year before that.
Well, it could be like that Golden State Warrior thing.
Yeah.
You're the best team in baseball. If you do not win a championship, that best team in baseball moniker don't mean shit.
Right. I would say this year, if Boston doesn't win it, it's not a big loss for them.
Depends on how far they get into the playoffs.
Right.
If they lose this series against the Yankees, then it's a failure.
I don't think they'll lose the series against the Yankees. I don't think the Yankees have the pitching to beat Boston.
Which, that's one thing Boston does have is the pitchings with Price, with Sales.
But Houston is arguably the best team in baseball because they have amazing pitching and their hitting is just
That is
stupid.
That I confirm that I agree with you. So we could very
5
well.
starters with 10-plus wins.
I mean, we could very well see the AL championship, which I believe will be the Astros
Mhm.
against the Red Sox.
Yeah.
And I think the NL will be the Yankees.
Yankees.
I mean,
The Dodgers.
the Dodgers, and I forget who's the other team.
There's Colorado and Milwaukee.
Hey, kudos to the Braves though for making the
Braves,
playoffs,
yeah. Well, the Braves are the best team in the NL.
which is odd. Well,
Kinda.
well, the Dodgers were better. Dodgers were
Right.
92 and 71. The Braves were 90 and 72.
Right.
So about a game off. But last year, the Braves were the laughing stock of
Yeah.
Major League Baseball.
Honestly, if they put up some fight,
When he's working
to
late
the
and
Dodgers,
she's stuck closing up.
great season. Regardless, I think what they've done already is more than what we expected.
So tonight there is 2 games. The Indians Astros at 4:30.
Right.
Yankees Red Sox at 8:15
Right.
in Fenway, which is possibly one of the best baseball stadiums in the world.
Biased.
I'm not a Yankee fan, but I love Yankee Stadium as well.
I've never been to Yankee Stadium. I want to go, but it is the Jacobs Field is.
I've been there a couple times.
I love it there.
The other team are fighting in the playoffs are the Brewers and the Rockies.
Yep, and I think that's a great matchup.
I think the Brewers will take it.
I think the Rockies, man. I think it's just their kind of year to be that ball buster.
To be that team that upsets people.
Right, because you have Matt Holliday, who's a veteran in that lineup. You have Trevor Story, Blackmon. You have a lot of these guys. Arenado, who's a phenomenal talent. And you have a lot of talented guys, and now you add that veteran leadership with Matt Holliday. Wow.
Yeah. So, going into halftime, the score looks like it's going to be 24-16 Texas.
Hook 'em.
But there's 28 seconds on the clock. Oklahoma is first and goal on the Texas 5. So, they're probably going to at least put 3 up going into halftime.
Still got that, 3 possession
Yeah.
kind of deal?
So, let's switch gears. We discussed something outside video games. Mega Man 11's out.
Mhm.
First Mega game since probably 2008. Been 10 years.
Oklahoma just scored a touchdown.
If you're a Mega Man fan, it's worth a look at.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a casual gamer, it's not really something to...
Right, and, we talked about it outside. I'm not the biggest of video game guys. I played Halo and Call of Duty mostly and whatnot. So, I mean, and I used to play Mega Man back in the 90s and something like that when I was a kid. But, yeah.
Yeah. Me, I'm going to start dipping a lot more into, into Street Fighter V.
Right.
Now that my arcade stick has officially been delivered.
Because you just want to play with your stick, huh?
Right. And
Yeah,
this
you
way
want, You want to wrap your fingers around your stick,
and
jiggle
this,
it a little bit.
and this way I don't feel ashamed about it.
Yes, yes, yes! Ah, I just won! Ah.
So at least that way I get to feel some kind of excitement.
Oh, yeah? Hopefully you don't get anything everywhere, little blood.
No
Little slur.
diseases.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find our news website we go to.
Did they close it down?
I don't know.
That'd
I'm
be
trying to
hilarious.
find it.
I would laugh my absolute
I think
ass
what
off.
was it? World News Daily Report. As soon
Yeah.
as I typed in W, it came up. This one will be good once we get to it. So we got 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to get into it now.
Okay.
What the fuck news? There's our theme song.
We need that recorded.
Daughter kicked out of home after she refused to wash her hair for 6 years.
Ew.
Guess what state?
Mississippi.
Minnesota.
Minnesota, huh? Damn. Yeah, I would kick her out. I'd be like, bitch,
And she's 24 anyways.
wash your hair. That just probably was the excuse that, the parents needed to get her the fuck out. It's like, you ranky ass bitch. Hippie fucker.
Elderly woman accused of training her 65 cats to steal
Yeah,
from
I've
neighbors.
heard of this one.
And it's in Columbus, Ohio. That's
Yeah.
the weird thing.
No, I remember this one. This was a story a little while ago, and oh my goodness. Cats are vindictive bastards. So here's the thing.
I have a cat, and I know what you're talking about.
Well, and all they do is just plot. They're like, let me just make sure, because I want food, but they look awfully tasty. Let me see if I can, push the buttons a little bit. If I
Right.
can get away with maybe a little bit of murder and a little bit of chaos. Yes, good chaos.
Mine is really bad. If I punish her, she'll wait until I'm sleeping and just run across.
Right.
Or she'll just lay on me and just stare.
And be like, bitch, I could kill you.
Right.
It's like, bitch.
And that's what.
Make,
and that's
make
what,
a move. Huh. Say it with your chest.
And that's what afraid scares me
Yeah.
to death.
Oh, yeah. See, dogs are awesome, man. They just love you. They're like, hey, you have food? Great. I love you.
Which my cat does that too. My cat loves people food.
Right. But here's the thing about cats.
But my cat will also put a shank in your back for
Mhm.
that food.
Yeah, absolutely. A dog's like, food, food, food. And be stupid and whatnot.
Everybody watching and joining in, thank you for watching. Nakia was in.
Oh, yeah.
Shorty was in.
Shorty.
Uh,
Hey, we still got that midget cage match that we want you in, so.
Gary Likens from EVSN jumped in to view us a little bit. Cowboys are going to lose this weekend. Sorry, silver and blue.
No. Maybe. I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this game.
So let's get to the next news story because, and I love that the tagline on this website is news you can trust. But I feel like
That's exactly how you know that you can't.
Pakistan,
Okay.
man condemned to 99 lashes for fleeing arranged marriage with a bearded woman.
I would take those lashings. I would just run and be like, I want to go to America!
I might want to turn that one down. You got a little hot on that one.
Oh, did I?
19-year-old was expected to get married to a 17-year-old.
With a beard.
In conformity with the tradition of the religion, the marriage has been arranged years ago by families, and the two had never met.
And then he walks up and be like, hey, how you doing, girl? No, here's
More
the
than-
setting. Here's the setting. So she's turned around, and off like in a window and whatnot. The storybook kind of meeting. And he's like, oh man, I get to meet her. Probably has a sexy body, skinny with a big old booty, or well, in those clothes probably can't tell, but he's probably like, oh, she's not bad. She's not bad at all. Then she turns around, fucking biker beard. He's like, oh my god!
Right? Oh, what the weird thing is that I'm seeing here, like I brought some, like 300 people were there, right?
Okay.
And they said he screamed, she's a freak, a bearded freak, and started off, we tried to catch him, but he was really running for his life.
Yeah, because I can see that even better now.
He was on the run for 4 days until they caught him.
Goddamn. So they're going down the aisle,
They flogged him 99 times, and he still had to get married to her.
I'd be like, bitch, you did. It's like, stab. All right, I'm going to jail. Kill me now.
This is only the 34 such cases been recorded in Pakistan since 2014.
Goddamn. Isn't that some shit, though, arranged marriages? Like, dude, yes, would it be easier? Absolutely. Would your parents probably prosper a little bit? Yeah, sure. But I wouldn't want to, like, be with somebody because somebody told me to. That would drive me insane. Be like, don't love you.
Right?
Can't do it.
All right, I got one. Since to go with the theme of how we opened the show, Australia.
Mm-hmm.
An Australian police officer has fallen victim to a brutal sexual assault by a kangaroo.
It's not funny, but it's hilarious.
And this is the constable, Pete Turnbull, told the reporters. He jumped on my partner, kicked him unconscious to the floor, and started to hunt me and attempted to mate with him. He was jumping and rubbing his penis all over my partner's face in brutal fashion. I had to tase the animal, or else he would have killed him.
And here's the kangaroo. He's like, how you doing, girl?
How you doing, boy? At this point, it was a male cop.
Kangaroos probably don't even know, but he's like, how you doing, man? You're looking pretty good. Looking pretty tasty. I wonder what it's going to be like with my balls all over your face.
I mean, it's just some of the stuff we find.
You wanna go to Pound Town? I don't really care because I'm going to take you to Pound Town regardless.
I mean, it was not as worse as the man being brutally sexually assaulted from a moose.
That. Moose like, bitch, get over here.
I mean, that's the thing that I looked at. Like, it could have been worse.
Moose is like 3 times your size. Kangaroo is pretty much about your size.
And by the way, Venom is officially out in theaters.
Yeah, I want to see it so bad.
Apparently, it's breaking records.
Really?
They had Todd McFarlane on
Yeah.
Howard Stern talking about it. And he was like, it's theirs. It's not mine anymore.
Yeah.
Yet, even though he created Venom.
Right.
So,
I want to see it so bad. It looks so good.
let's go into the Catholics.
Okay.
If you are a religious fan, we're sorry to offend you now. But we have not offended you at this point,
Right.
keep watching because we probably will here.
Yeah, we don't give a fuck.
Catholic priest hospitalized
Okay.
to have a crucifix removed from his rectum. Guess what state? You're looking at Catholics.
New York.
Boston.
Damn. Hey, all right.
I guess that really was the Subway series.
Here's the priest. Well, my rectum is kind of feeling lonely. I don't have any altar boys right now. I don't have anybody around. I wonder how it feels to have God's great son up my asshole.
Well, I've got some stats here that are actually going to blow you away.
Okay.
It was a 10-inch crucifix, by the way.
And he's probably like, no altar boy has a 10-inch penis. All right, let's do it.
I guess.
Let me stretch myself out here a little bit. Probably needed some cocaine to move. It's like, all right, let me just get my rectum open a little bit.
I guess you could say he was touched by God.
In the eyes of an angel.
All right, right here. Every year, an average 5 out of 687 Americans show up to a hospital with various objects stuck in their anal cavities.
Why?
They give me a couple of incidents. In October 2016, a mother of one from Walsley, England, was rushed to the hospital after a large vibrator was stuck in her rectum.
But see, that's a little...
That makes sense.
It makes sense because you want to get pleasure and whatnot, and you want to, diddle your diddle, but some others, like the cell phone shit and whatnot, come on.
In 2015, a 27-year-old unemployed American man went to the hospital with lower abdominal discomfort following an injection of a liquid adhesive in his anal cavity.
One more time.
Yeah, you heard me right. Stomach pain due to an anal injection of liquid adhesive.
What was the adhesive?
It doesn't give me that. Other objects reportedly found in people's anal cavities. Light bulbs,
You know,
bottles.
they probably wanted to let the light shine in on their anus. So.
Oh, it's going to get worse. Bottles, cell phones, which we discussed the cell phone one.
Well, in bottles, there was that challenge of bottle guy, and he would shove up, 7-Up 2 liters. But anyway.
Various animals,
Okay.
and even a Buzz Lightyear figurine.
And we've even seen from Jackass, little toy cars shoved up, their ass.
I guess with the Buzz Lightyear, it was to infinity and beyond.
They went beyond. They definitely went beyond. Beyond the anal cavity, rectum. Oh, so much fun.
Like a woman develops an IQ of 220 after drinking sperm for over a year.
Yeah, but
Every day for a year.
yeah, but if she shoved something up her ass, it probably went down like 80 points. So
Oh, wow. This one's too good not to talk about.
what's that?
Hurricane Florence.
Okay.
A 400-pound woman sues the North Carolina Zoo after escaped hippo tried to rape her.
The hippo's probably like, damn girl, where have you been all my life? You're nice and thick, like I'm thick around the gut. Damn
But
girl.
just, like, we're in a society now where, yes, we're laughing at this, but
What do you think though? Animalistic insight. An animal, if they see something that they want to fuck, they're gonna fuck.
right, we get it from dogs all the time.
And people, for some reason, think sex is such a
Taboo.
taboo thing. And
Which we didn't do a top 5 this week,
yeah.
but tell everybody what your next top 5 is going to
See,
be.
this is my brainchild, and I will say I'm kind of.
We're going to find out stuff about each other we don't need to know because of this top
Right.
5 list.
And this is why we're friends.
That's very true.
But we're doing a top 5 fetishes. So, yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Mom, Dad, don't watch this.
Jackie, don't watch this, babe. I love you, but do not watch this. So fans, you don't have to post your top 5 on our page. You can email us directly where?
Right. At handsjustice@gmail.com.
Or you can hit us up on Facebook through the messenger
Right.
and just at Hands of Justice Podcast.
Right.
And we will not give the name of who gives us the list.
Right. Absolutely.
You will stay completely anonymous
Right.
because we don't want you to lose jobs.
Right.
We don't want you to lose family.
Right. And for us, we might lose our jobs, but
But we got to think about this. With the top sexual fetishes, yes, I put an extra S on it because I'm... But the thing is, does it have to be something that's culturally accepted now?
No.
Because, like, now, incest, right, is, from what we read now, is more culturally accepted, like stepmom, stepdad, stepbrother, stepsister.
Is that incest though?
Technically, yes.
Damn. All right.
Like, is midgets considered on that list? I mean, we're going to find out shit about each other. I don't know if our friendship can take it right now.
We'll be fine. But anyway, like, why would you want to shove shit up your ass?
That's a fetish.
My asshole is very precious to me, and I don't want anything to touch it.
You haven't lived in.
No, that's fine. I don't want to live. I don't want to live that kind of life then.
But there is weird fetishes out there,
Yeah.
which I don't even know if I want to do the research on this.
No,
My phone might come up to me and say, dude, listen, this is some fucked up shit. Like, I don't even
it's
want
like I thought you were bad before, but this, what in the actual fuck?
Right, and that's what bothers, like, I love the top 5 list. I really do.
Right.
Then we've already got a topic for next week. Already we're going to discuss. I sent you an article
Right.
about, we'll get into it next week, the possible McGregor-Canelo fight.
Right.
Which, based on what happens in this fight tonight,
Mm-hmm.
will vary that.
Yeah, I would say so.
So, real quick, I'm going to do the little quick score check real quick. What's your plans other than us being here tonight till almost 2?
I'm not working tonight, so other than doing the show, and then tomorrow, kind of just chilling, watching some football. But my grandma comes back from being at rehab for her broken hip, so she'll be back early this upcoming week. So I'm probably just gonna hang out with her and make sure she's all
You're
right.
gonna hang with Grandma.
Yeah, just
Have
hang
you
out.
ever seen the movie Sex Drive?
Yes.
He's going to see Grandma.
No, but yeah, I mean, she's coming back, and so that's gonna be good, and we're gonna just hang out, not do a whole lot. Probably gonna go to work Monday, and my weekend's gonna be pretty boring. But I'm so excited for these fights, man.
I'm jacked.
I am so excited.
So the scores are as it sees. Going into halftime, Alabama's up 41-14.
Right.
I'm actually surprised they've let 14 up.
Right. Especially against Arkansas.
Right. Missouri's up 23-14 on South Carolina.
Right.
Michigan is losing at the end of the first quarter 7-3 against Maryland. Northwestern's still up 14-6. West Virginia's up 21-7 on Kansas. And your Longhorns are up 24-17, and they're just now coming out of the third quarter. They're just now coming out of halftime.
That's big, though, that Texas is up. And, something that's kind of surprised me is Maryland. Maryland has been fairly good this year, and they beat Texas. So, they have talent, because Texas went on a tear and has been, knock on wood, since that game. So that tells me Maryland is probably pretty talented.
Ehlinger, your quarterback, 10 for 12, 161 yards, one touchdown. He's also ran for 36 yards.
Not surprising,
And a touchdown, so he's got one passing, one rushing.
He's a dual threat guy. He's Tom Herman's kind of guy. Not necessarily my cup of tea because I like Shane Buechele as a quarterback. More of a thrower, more of a pocket passer, doesn't move as much. But anyway, I mean, for this team, Sam Ehlinger is doing a great job, but he's not going to put up the passing stats. He's not going to put up, 300, even 250. He's not going to put up that. He's going to barely get past 200.
And that's the big thing. Kyle Murray on the other side has went 11 for 15, 135 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he's also turned the ball over.
Right.
And that can hurt, plain and simple, a turnover.
Right. And Texas needs to come out now out of halftime and just keep going.
Well, they just had, I'm looking at the game cast right now. They just had a big run for like 31 yards.
Yep.
Texas did.
So
right now, based on what's happening, ESPN has Texas at a 68.2% chance of winning this game.
Yeah.
But we know Oklahoma, you can't count out.
And Texas needs to stay on their toes and needs to still maintain their prowess.
They need to force turnovers.
Yeah, and that's the best part about this defense is that they do. So they make sure they force the other team into bad mistakes.
Right, and that's what you got to do is force the mistakes. So,
right. So
I believe it's about that time.
Force the other
to
team
head
into
out
bad mistakes.
and kind of reset ourselves because we're going to be back here, I think, at 7. So we won't go back live until like 10.
To head out.
We'll do a couple hours of the fight. So join like later scoreonhair.com. It'll also be on the Hands of Justice podcast page.
We'll
share it out.
Yeah, we'll share it out.
So there's multiple opportunities to see us today. And that's what I wanted to read you was before we head out, the Chris Jericho drink list.
Yes.
So there's multiple because I remember this is how we're going to end it is drinking. That's what I wanted to read you was before we head out. Here we go. The first drink is called the Y2J, the Y2 Jawbreaker.
Okay.
Has Bacardi rum in it, right? Superior rum, gold rum, coconut rum, pineapple juice, orange juice, and granite. Bacardi rum in it, right? Then you have the stupid idiot, gold rum, the Don Juan Blanco tequila, Captain Morgan spice rum, right? Tanqueray gin, Smirnoff vodka, triple sec, and fresh lemon juice and cola.
That would make you stupid.
The stupid idiot, right?
Yeah, that would get me in trouble.
Then the code breaker. It has 1800 Reposado tequila, Jose Cuervo gold tequila, triple sec, and fresh lime juice.
That would also make me stupid.
It has 1800 the lion salt. just a shot of chill fire.
Gold tequila, triple sec, and
That's all the lion
I
salt
hate
is.
cinnamon.
What? You had one shot of.
Just a shot of
Yeah, but I'll do one, but I
That's-
can't.
that's all the
God,
lion
I
salt
just
is.
turned my stomach up.
What? So then we got the Judas.
Just a shot of
Yeah, but
Atlantico
I'll do one,
Plantino
I can't.
rum with fresh lime juice and
So then we got the
agave nectar.
Yeah, but
So that was not too bad. Then you got the New Amsterdam vodka drinks. The Walls of Jericho is just New Amsterdam vodka on the rocks.
So that was not.
Then you had the Amsterdam
Then you
Mule.
got the New Amsterdam vodka.
2 parts New Amsterdam vodka, 3 parts ginger beer, half a part of simple syrup, half a part of fresh lime juice, and a sprig of mint.
2 parts New Amsterdam.
The first drink I'm
vodka,
trying
3
is the
parts
stupid
ginger
idiot.
beer,
Oh yeah.
half a part of
Because I
simple
want to
syrup,
at least
half a part of
enjoy it.
fresh
Like
lime
somebody
juice,
said,
and
drink that one last. No, I actually want to enjoy that
Right.
one.
Stupid idiot.
Taste it, see how it goes, and then you're like, alright, I don't want.
Right, so thank you, Christopher Brown, for sending me that list.
Thanks, Chris.
He's Canadian,
Damn Canadian.
but he's our Canadian destroyer.
Wait, does he have the mouth that goes like in South Park?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
But if Chris, I'm sorry if he offended you. All hate mail goes to Seth Justice on Facebook.
Okay, that's fine. Bring me the hate. Give me your reactions. I live for it.
So we are out of here, and we will be back tonight and next week for Hands of Justice, top 5 list, top 5 fetishes, which scares the shit out of me.
It should. This is gonna be fun.
So thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Peace out, fuckers. Hook 'em horns.